Hi everybody, this is Josh. In this video, we're going to make a logo from scratch using Google Drawings. Here we go. So I've just loaded up a blank Google Drawings document. And the first thing that I'm going to do is go to the File menu, Page Setup, and just set it up to a size that I would prefer. And I like to work on a square canvas. I think the best logos work in squares. It makes them a lot more usable and deployable if they can work in a small constrained area. Think about it like a sticker. So I'm going to make it 10 by 10, and we're going to create a very simple logo. I think that also the best logos are the simplest logos. Again, think about deployability, something that's easy to see and read, and something that becomes recognizable very quickly. And the best way to make sure all of those things happen is to keep things very simple. So I'm going to make a logo maybe for a game development company or a gaming blog or YouTube channel, and I'm just going to call it Good Game. And I like to use word art. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Insert Word Art. And this is going to be very type focused. In other words, we're going to use a font and really just focus on the letters. So I'm going to type in all caps, good, and I'm going to separate these two words. Let's format this first. I'm going to take off the stroke or the border. And for right now, I'm just going to make it black so I can see very clearly what I'm doing. And I already have a font in mind. You can click more fonts down here and probably browse for an entire day just at all of the fonts that this pulls from the Google font repository. I have one loaded up and it's called Bungee. And so I'm going to use that for this logo. And I'm going to hold down Control and drag a copy. Double click and change that word to game, again in all caps. Remember, great logos are simple. And I like to keep in mind, if a logo looks good on a sticker, that usually means it's a good logo. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these smart guides and snap these two pieces of text together. Make sure that they're lined up. And then I'm going to hold down Shift because we don't want to do this. We don't want to squash text and we don't want to stretch it like that. So holding Shift will make sure that we maintain the integrity of that font and the proper proportions. So what I did is I just held down Shift until I got those smart guides, those blue guides that let me know that I have sized it to another shape or object on my document. And that's what I want. I want that word to be the same width as good. And I'm just going to use the arrow key on my keyboard to nudge it down once. I want those to be nice and snug up together. Believe it or not, this is the meat of my logo. In fact, I'm going to select both of these and just copy it off to the side here. Again, I just held Control and drag a copy of it over there, just in case I want to play with that later on. Now, another thing that I like to do is create a icon, something that's maybe just the initials of your name, or in this case, of this blog or game company logo. And I'm going to, again, hold down Control and drag a copy. And I'm going to get rid of everything except for the G. So the G is used twice, both in the word good and in the word game. And so G becomes a good symbol for us to use as an icon. Now I want to set it on something, give it kind of a base. And I'm just going to use a circle. So let's draw in a circle. I'm going to work on this icon first. I'm going to place that G right on top of it. And let's go ahead and make it white for right now. I'm going to size it down just a little bit and give it just a little bit more breathing room inside that circle. And then I'm going to rotate it. Something like that. I think it just gives it a little bit more interest. It almost ends up being like this arrow that points to the right. I kind of like that. So I'm going to group those together with Control, Alt, and G. And again, just move it off to the side for now. There's one more element that I want to introduce, and that's something that will very quickly visually say this is about video games. So I'm going to go insert an image, and I'm going to search the web, and I want to find a video game controller. So I'm just going to look at game controller images. So I'm just scrolling through the images, and I like this one right here. So I'm going to double click on that to insert it. And all I want from this is the silhouette. I don't want to actually use the image file itself. So I'm just going to use it as a reference image or a template. I'm I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my curve tool. And I'm just going to trace around the outside of this image. Now the curve tool creates points and a curved line between those points. So I'm just going around and clicking everywhere that I want to place a point. Don't worry too much about this. It does take some practice to kind of get the hang of it, but you can always double click and edit those points later on. That's one of the great things about vector shapes, is that it's more like clay than it is like drawing or painting. You can always remold it. So right there, I already know at the top of this controller shape that I'm going to want to edit some of those points. And we can do that after we finish the shape. So there's our shape. It's not too bad. But what I want to do is double click on it, zoom in just a little bit more, and grab some of these points and straighten them out just a little bit more. Right about there. I think that's a little bit cleaner. All right, so now I can get rid of that image, and now I just have this vector shape, this custom vector shape. I'm going to remove the border by just making it transparent, and I'm going to make the shape black. I do have a color scheme in mind, and I use ColorZilla to kind of keep track of colors. It basically works as a eyedropper, just like in Photoshop, but for your Chrome browser, which means you can grab a color from anywhere on your screen, and it will save those colors in a little palette here. So I want to use this magenta color. I'm going to copy the hex code right there to the clipboard by using Control C. Now that hex code is copied to the clipboard, I'm going to copy this little icon and just select the circle. Then I'm going to go to the fill color, go to custom, and paste in that hex code and click OK. Now that fill color will show up at the bottom of my fill bucket drop-down window so that I can apply that to other objects in my document. So what I want to do is use this silhouette shape as a base for the good game text here. I'm going to change the color of the word good, make it white, and select the word game and make it my magenta color. And now I'm going to move it up on top of my controller. Now, I kind of like that the game hangs down off of the controller shape, but I also want to give that a little bit more contrast. So I'm going to hold down Control and copy that game word art, make my fill color black, and move it to the back. Now move it back up, and then maybe just nudge it down once. I'm also going to make it bold, which is going to expand it a little bit past my original word there. Just like that. Now with all of these selected, I'll hold down Control Alt and push G to put those into a group. Now just to give myself yet another variation, I'm going to copy this entire thing, again just holding Control and dragging, and then get rid of my text shapes in here, just leaving me with the controller again. Then I'm going to copy my G icon and place it on the controller. Maybe size it up a little bit. And what I might do is draw in another circle, make it black, just to give this G icon a little bit of a base. Just like that. And again, I'll select all of those, Control Alt G, put them into a group. And now I've got several pieces, several variations that is starting to create an identity system, a logo system, not just a single standalone image, but something that I can use in different ways for different applications. This G over here, for example, would make a great favicon. That's the little icon right up there in the tab area, or a sticker or a profile image, where these might work a little bit better for a header. Now to export these, what Google Drawings does is only exports what is actually on the canvas. So I'm going to remove everything except what I want to export right now. I'm going to size it up to my canvas, go to File, and download it as a PNG. Don't use JPEG because that'll make the background behind here white. Use PNG, and that will maintain the alpha channel or the transparent background behind our logo, which is indicated by that checkered pattern there. If you don't see that checkered pattern, right-click on your canvas, go to background, and make sure it's set on transparent. Let's go ahead and open up our first image here. There it is. We could repeat this process with each piece that we want to export, knowing that it will maintain our transparent background so that we can use it on other things like Facebook headers, cover photos, YouTube art, or even business cards and flyers. Another thing that you can export from Google Drawings is SVG, or Scalable Vector Graphics. And SVG can be opened in more industry standard programs like Illustrator. So I hope that you've been able to see that you can create some great looking logos using Google Drawings. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.